Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This is the Felfar Gaze channel where we discuss everything about demon hunters in World of Warcraft. Today I come to you with a commentary video of a Mythic Plus dungeon, a Vortex Pinnacle plus 24. Vortex Pinnacle being one of the more tightly tuned dungeons of this season, let's say, has a kind of challenging timer, and you will see that we were kind of close, but we made it in the end without making too many mistakes along the way. You will see me playing the low target count build with Glaive Tempest and Shattered Destiny, and also using the Sarkar Trinket because it's really good on low target count like Vortex Pinnacle. And since it's a Sanguine week, I'm also using the Mortal Dance talent that reduces healing received to reduce the healing of Sanguine. Our tank did a pretty good job of managing Sanguine, but this can add a little bit extra safety net to it. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. We're starting the key here at 3 seconds. We will I-beam into Metamorphosis to get some demon form uptime and put the key in. The first pull is extremely annoying. It's not really challenging at all. It has these huge air elementals that really do nothing, just have tons of HP and slow down the group by a lot because it takes so much time to kill them. The priest mind controls the small lad. Here I take aggro, so I almost died. Shadow Melt Blur and keep going. And we have to chain pull this first big elementals to the second pull with the small ones that have to be interrupted. I put one on focus and I target another one and I wait for the tank to gather the mobs. This will take some time. We pop everything here, of course. We last, we pot. It's unfortunate that the IOE procced while I was in the meta animation, so I had to jump out. Here you will see the small elementals start dying, and we have to manage the Sanguine. Tank did a pretty good job, I would say. So once the smaller ones are dead, you chain the big ones into the next set of small ones, and you keep cleaving. The timer is very tight, so you cannot really afford to wait and clear the big ones. You lose too much time. So as you see, we chained. There is some Sanguine damage. Hopefully I have the AoE Mortal Strike with Mortal Dance, and this reduces the healing that the mobs are taking, saving us some time. Here I noticed it's a good idea really to stack with your tank, because that's how you're gonna get the most uptime. Here I was confused. The Cyclone was actually cycloned by our own priest Cyclone that is mind controlled. Yeah, you see here the tank is marked with blue, and the best idea in such pools where we constantly have the large AoE circles, you stack with the tank and most of the adds start moving towards the tank. Here you see I taunt this small bob outside the group for it to die without popping Sanguine on the rest of the pack, especially on the big mobs because they have so much HP, and if they start healing we will lose tons of time. So we have one Gast here at full HP. This is the one that the priest mind controlled at the beginning of the pool, and we now have to clear it. To be fair, our tank did a really good job with Sanguine in these pools. We're now moving on into maybe one of the dangerous packs of this dungeon, and that's not because the pack is so scary, it's probably because you've spent every single button on the last pull. So you don't have too much damage, you don't have too many defensives or interrupts, and yeah, these mobs can crack, especially unfortified. This is a tyrannical key, so it's not too bad. Same things apply. You try to kill the small ones, and we will chain the big mob into the next pack. Nothing too crazy goes on here. I get targeted, I meld because I noticed I was not at full HP. I taunt again. I taunt outside the group, trying to reduce the total sanguine time. And here I pop meta. So you wanna stack the vortexes. You still have the big god from the last pack, but you don't really care about it too much because it's not scary, it just has tons of HP. You try to kill these small guys, interrupt them as much as possible. They are the ones that will wipe you the most. Here I don't interrupt for some reason. Perhaps I was tunnel visioning a little bit too much. But yeah, you keep healing the damage from the turbulence, you kick the adds, you try to use everything on cooldown. Here again we did pretty good job with sanguines. The tank primarily does the job, and the mortal strike from the demon hunter does the last bit. You will notice that I will almost always use skull markers to guide my teammates. Like here, I put the skull marker on that mob, I put the other mob on focus, so we both start DPSing here. Here I make a small mistake. I could Glaive Tempest before I-Beam to avoid having to use Glaive Tempest during my I-Beam window. Here you may notice I had Power Infusion. If I was spamming Chaos Strike a little bit harder, I would be able to get a third Death Sweep within my demonic window. Here at this stage I realized that we are not doing too bad, so I swap target so that the two mobs die simultaneously as much as possible. Yeah, it almost casted Turbulence inside the Sanguine, which could be super scary. Here you need to take note to that the mob that's behind can chain lightning you if you don't face it. Other than that, we are at first boss. This is a super annoying boss for melee. You have all the orbs around, you need to dodge, and you have to play some mobility spells. You have the Felras for Unbound Chaos, and you have the Vengeful Retreat. You will notice that I will skip using them pretty often because you are not really able to do them. I try to Vengeful Retreat here when I'm outside, when there is no risk of getting killed. You try to kick, you try to get your things on cooldown. Maybe I fell rush here. I would have the opportunity to, yeah, I do it. Generally, when you transition from phase 1 to phase 2, you can use the mobility spells. The hand is also very scary because it puts you directly in a melee range of the boss, but if you move like one global, you're dead. And that's very scary pretty often. Here you see I use the Felras while I'm outside melee range. And I use the Vengeful Retreat here at the beginning of phase 1 where the orbs are still outside and you have some room to work with. But other than that, here I have a charge of Felras. I won't use it. Here you might notice I even cancelled my I-Beam a little bit early because I was getting clipped by a ball otherwise. Here I made a mistake. Instead of dropping Glaive Tempest, I pressed Fellblade and I almost died. I had a quick reaction and I managed to get out safely, but yeah, that was definitely not intended. You don't want a Fellblade like this. But overall, we have been pretty solid at this pool. The things have been used on cooldown, like the Death Sweeps and the Glaive Tempests and the some Felrases when possible. Also the hand. I've used most of the things. while this is a really tough fight to use everything on cooldown here, I try to do a darkness into a vengeful retreat to get the initiative and send the trinket. Now it's unfortunate that the demon spawned right here, but it is what it is. I could use it like 5 seconds earlier to combo it with everything I had. But still here it was comboed with the whole essence break and with the hand. So at this stage the boss is almost dead, and I noticed that I'm really low on the DPS meter, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I thought I was pressing most of the things on cooldown. I know Priest is buffed, maybe he does more damage than me, but this is a huge difference and I couldn't understand. And later on I went through the logs and realized that the Priest was multi-dotting everything. So yeah, this is not actually realistic. It is what it is. Moving on, we have this pool which is not super dangerous. On Tyrannical, these mobs don't really do that much. We have these assassins which jump on people and try to kill them, but they don't do too much. Here I decide that I will hold my I-beam for metamorphosis. So I send the rest and then I go for it when metamorphosis is back. I did it 1 second earlier, so I missed the double death sweep within the essence break window. Don't do that. Like, this is a huge DPS loss. Don't do that. Other than that, I've been sending every button on cooldown. We don't have a DPS spot here. I managed to find the mob with a huge shield here to purge it. Our priest has been doing mass dispels, so this is not a scary pool at all. You just clear it and move on. At the moment, you coordinate some AOE stuns, some fears, incapacitate from the druid, and yeah, you keep going. Now here I grab the demon and I go straight for the drake. I even get the initiative. I hit it before the first tick of the AOE. Here I will blare. Do I send the Sarkar trinket? Yep, I do. With initiative, I think. If I remember correctly, this got super scary, even though it's tyrannical. I have an essence break here. I'm trying to understand, will I send it, will I not? I realize that our healer is kind of struggling, so I send it. I do not want this to drag for too long. I step in Sanguine for no reason. So we have the two assassins here and we chain them. Here I get aggro. I mean, this is bad. I should not get aggro at this stage, but yeah. Here we pop PI and last and go ham. I don't really like this bloodlust. This is what you would do on a fortified week. This is a very hard pull and you want to last this, but on a tyrannical week I would rather save this for the boss, for the second boss and then for the last boss. We make short work of these mobs since we had so many cooldowns. Of course I had no metamorphosis, the priest had PI and bloodlust, he skyrockets. I have metamorphosis soon. So this is the pool with the 4 sage. This can get a little bit messy. Now my druid does not really have proper aggro. And he still cannot get aggro for so long. I was not expecting this. Yeah. So here I die no reason. And people combat rest me. I took it. And the paladin sacrificed me immediately, which is a good call. You purge the shield from the sage, they get 90% damage reduction. It just slows you down. It's not risky or dangerous, it just slows you down. So you wanna purge it, clear them and just keep moving. So this hand was probably unnecessary. There is some downtime though between this pull and grabbing the squirrels here and doing another big AoE pull. So here I will send my meta because I have it and the timer is very tight. I cannot keep holding it. I will send every cooldown here, even my potion. I don't remember. Here you see I get initiative and I send the trinket and I get aggro. That's the bad thing with initiative, is you have it at the beginning of the pool, and if you send a big button you might get aggro, and that's very annoying for both you and the tank. And try to purge one of the shields. You fell rush into Fellblade to get back into melee range. You keep the Blade Dance on cooldown, especially now with Sanguine, because you want the Mortal Strike on all the mobs to reduce the healing. We just send the last I-beam as well and move on to the boss. Now with this metamorphosis I got a lot of AoE damage. I don't have it for the boss now. I would love to. I will probably get it throughout the fight, but it is very useful on this boss, so I was not super confident whether I did the correct call there to use it like that. But the timer on this dungeon is very tight, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Here I get, let's say, side clipped by the breath and the tornado, so I was not able to approach the boss on melee range. Luckily it has a really large hitbox. This is a really good boss for Havoc because you have endless haste, which means you can spam Chaos Strikes and reset I-beam all the time and extend Metamorphosis all the time, which increases your damage disproportionately with other classes. So if you manage to have the Anvil trinket from the second boss, it does tons of damage here. With all this haste, if you stack it, it does so much damage. Here you will see I will make some erratic movements that are not super efficient, but yet the boss has a huge hitbox. You can hit it while you're in the air. You keep spamming Glaive Tempest and I-beam. You spend as much fury as you can. Here I get knocked into the tornado again. This was very bad, but I keep pumping even though all these things have gone wrong. I keep pumping. So here we get the demon. I can send the Sarkar trinket that was well recognized by me. I do the Fell Rush and then I get into the I-beam. My metamorphosis is gonna be back really soon. As you will notice, I have a really high uptime on I-beam. I did lose some death sweeps here and there, so I could be doing way more damage if I did not miss those death sweeps. And here I move into the I-beam and into metamorphosis. I make a weird movement here. It was actually pretty well executed, dodging the mechanic. So as you might have seen here, as a DH you can just double jump over the circle. You don't care. You don't have to get knocked into the air, regardless of what you've seen me doing for a while now. That's an accident, it's not intended. So as you see, I try to keep my back on the winds, even though sometimes I have my side on the winds, not my back directly, because that's not always possible depending on the position of other mechanics such as the breath and the swirlies. You still wanna avoid them while getting the haste buff. I keep sending everything on cooldown and it's going pretty well. If we exclude the initial mechanic failures, that I got hit by many tornadoes and I got flipped in the air a time or two that I should have not. But other than that, you see here, I managed to out DPS the priest even though I played poorly. There is the possibility to do tons of single target as Havoc in this fight specifically due to your scaling with haste. At this stage, I realized that we are really in trouble because I was not looking at the timer until the boss was dead, and I look at the timer now. I know we need at least 5 minutes for the last boss. So we have, let's say, around 5 minutes and a half to clear so many packs that are positioned between us and the last boss. So yeah, this is getting super hectic. I start to realize now that I need to send everything on a cooldown. Do I send the Sarkarat trinket? Yes, with a demon form buff and the folder to the flame. So you just keep pressing every button on cooldown as much as possible, because now it's no longer a matter of killing the more threatening enemies. It's all about the timer now. I realized we are too far behind and we got press the assault, let's say. So here I'm preparing for metamorphosis. If you noticed, I sent the DPS potion earlier even though I had no metamorphosis, because I realized that I can use it 2 more times, and that's important. Here I delay my I-beam a little bit. I got hit by some stuff and I thought that I was targeted by the lighting field ability, but that was not the case. Some casts just managed to go off on me because we did not interrupt. The evoker interrupted now. Now I am targeted by lighting glass, so I should get inside. I try to dance with the field here. I'm trying to melee the mob while being inside the field. I focus kick the caster. The tank keeps moving the mobs to avoid sanguine. This is a really good job. Here a small mistake is that he should have been tanking them closer to the lightning field, because I was not able to DPS at all while I was stuck in there trying to avoid the mechanic. He keeps moving the mobs around. I get a demon. Do I send the last I-beam as well? I think I should not send this I-beam, yeah. And moving into the balls. This can be a weird pack, specifically on Fortified. It's like 2 packs of balls that are kind of spread out. Here it's not so easy to AoE them. Here I was trying to figure out which balls I'm gonna essence break. I wanted to essence break those 3, but none of them got hit, which is weird. So yeah, normally I would not send the hand here, but like I said, we are very tight and I choose to save I-beam because I know we're walking into a dangerous pool and I want I-beam essence break right away. You know, I-beam would not save us too much time here. I hit, I get the initiative, and I send a Sarkarat trinket with initiative with the extra 12% critical strike, and then I move into the demonic window. I get a demon a little bit late. Other than that, nothing too special. I try to focus kick the adept. Here our invoker almost dies. We're lucky that he stayed alive with like 1% or something. People are stunning the heals from the mobs. Now he got casting within Sanguine, but he was killed by my I-beam and he had the Mortal Strike on it as well. Now we keep chain pulling. We know this is a super dangerous pull and we have nothing. Like nothing. My priest has no PI, our paladin has no wings, our druid has no incarnation, I don't have metamorphosis, but it's just going right now. We don't have anything we can do. Metamorphosis is slowly coming off cooldown and we hope that this can save us. I send everything here. I don't have DPS potion. You try to kill these executors because they do those crashing stomps, how they're called, which are super dangerous. These are the ones that will kill you. The other mobs don't do too much. So there's two of them, and they cast the rally as well, which should be interrupted at all costs. So these are the most dangerous mobs, and you try to focus them. You see I put Skull again, so my priest knows. I hope he's hitting the same target. Our tank manages Sanguine again. We get clipped a little bit on the big ad. Now I focus the big ad. After this guy is dead, actually almost everything is dead other than the big ad. We keep managing Sanguine nicely. Here he gets some Sanguine, but he's wounded with my mortal wounds. So it's reduced by 50%. We start moving the mob, but we cannot really move it too far up way because the evoker, for example, still needs to sit inside the static field. We're still in panic mode. Here I had a choice. I was looking at my Sarkar trinket. I said, okay, I can get another 2 uses of it, but probably I would not use it here and just use it on 2 adds on the last boss, so I can almost one-shot 2 adds, and that's super useful on this boss, so I decided to do that. I saved it and we move on. Our priest has no PI, I don't have meta, so our opener will be weak. I hope the evoker notices and he does not waste Bloodlust for a while. I think he will use it on the first ad, if I'm not mistaken. Here normally you can save I-beams for the ads, but not in this situation. Because you're so tight on time. I send the Sarkar trinket, and together with Bloodlust the ad almost vanishes. Here, for example, I will probably send the I-beam because I cannot really wait for it. So I wait for the boss to come back in, and here something very unfortunate happens. For some reason I'm trying to pick up a soul and I move 1 step outside the static field. Like, this was a major failure on my part. Totally unnecessary death. I get CR'd and we keep moving. As we see, we are super tight here. I have an I-beam for this mob, this will help. It's not that it dies super fast. It dies though. And I have my meta now. I know this is my last meta. Maybe I could get like 15 seconds of another one, but I prefer not to do that. I prefer to use my DPS spot with meta and do a clean burst on this ad here with double essence break and double death sweep on both targets. So this is super clean. I almost solo this ad because I had so much damage and it still died slowly. This means that nobody else had anything at this point. Yeah, I move back in. I try to be extra careful not to move too much. Here I try to shadow meld the chain lighting. I didn't know that when you shadow meld the chain lighting, the boss targets another one, and that's not super plenty because they might be thinking, okay, chain lighting went on the DH, we are cool, I don't need to bother with it anymore, and then all of a sudden they are hit with the chain lighting. So that's not good. But we are doing a pretty good job with most of the ads. I mean, Demon Hunter is super powerful doing that. Here I delay my Vengeful Retreat for a while. I don't know why that's the case. I use a Blur and I got Sacrifice on the chain lighting. This is the most scary part of the fight, where you get the chain lighting and the ad is up at the same time. This is where you can die. Here I check the timer and I realize if I send the hunt, I can get another cast of the hunt. We were also pretty lucky with the static fields here. They were spawning close to us, making our life a little bit easier. Now I have another Sarkar trinket for the next ad. For some reason if I remember correctly, yeah, it did not hit that hard. Of course, it's always good to have it. Here I cancel I-beam a little bit early to make sure I make the jump. I get a demon, and we keep pumping the boss. If you forget about that one moment where I stepped out of the static field, I've been doing a pretty good job on this boss, to be fair. So the paladin said that he will send the trinket, his Sarkar trinket, and the ad is dead almost immediately. And now we're working with 45 seconds left. I don't want to leave melee range just yet. You will see I'll stay here for a while. I aim your aura, and then I fell rush through to get the extra damage from fell rush. And we keep pumping. We have 30 seconds. Someone here will call, just kill the boss. No more ads. We don't have any time for killing ads. But we are at a pretty good stage here, so we managed to finish the key in time, which was super stressful. The timer of Vortex Pinnacle is super stressful. If you're still here, thanks a lot for watching to the end. This has been a blast for me making this video. I hope that was able to provide some value to you and help you improve as a demon hunter and as a player. If you like the content, please thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. There is more Mythic Plus commentaries coming, along with other videos like some class changes and maybe some PvP. So thanks a lot, and see you in the next one.